the pretty.
Yeah.
Long time no see, young man.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you. Do you want to keep this or give it back? You can keep it. I will.
Does anybody else need a yarmulke, a kippah?
I need a keeper, grab my.
You're disappearing. Good to see you. Good. We saw the caretaker on our way in, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So he put some seeds.
We're bringing in some, we're trying it in another spot. We're bringing in some micro.
Yeah, he told us. Yeah. He said the people that they don't know.
We give them all away to heritage people that are going to drop it off.
Tell me, because I have a lot of stuff I'd like to give away too.
It's called Work. Google it.
I have like cupboards.
Yes, on Maine and
You feel better?
No, that's
That's a lot of weight, right? So I lost 60 pounds. But 60 pounds is a lot of weight.
There's another person.
we need a kippah.
inside. He's spending some weight. Come on. And he's happy.
They're gonna be cold. But you can feel it. I'll share it with that.
Talk to each other.
Congrats on one of yours. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I shall return it. No worries.
So she thinks it was you. Good.
Friends, why don't we come gather closer? We just try not to stand on a grave, but there's nobody buried between here and Lillian's grave, so we can stand here in this spot.
Come here, Bob. Look at that.
And I know we just have a few people joining us. Does anybody else need a kippah, yarmulke? I'm sorry that I don't have enough of the prayer, the services for you all, but most of what we do is actually me talking and you talking, not a lot of reading. And the stream is working. There's about 4 or 5 people watching, so, and it'll be recorded. So thank you all for being here. It's really not about the prayers that we say in the next few minutes, although those are necessary. It's really more about your presence, just being here. And then beyond the showing up, it's actually the talking, the sharing of stories, the sharing of memories. And so as I go through this brief service, at a moment before we uncover the matzeva, the headstone, I'm going to pause and invite anybody who would like to briefly share a memory or a thought, a moment over the past year that you thought of Lillian, a time that you felt her presence or her absence, heard her voice. And we'll share those with each other, and then we'll conclude with a few of the traditional prayers that are necessary. To this sacred place we come, drawn by the eternal ties that bind our soul to yours. Death has separated us. You are no longer at our side to share the beauty of the passing moment. We cannot look to you to lighten our burdens, to lend us your strength, your counsel, your faith. And yet what you mean to us neither withers nor fades. For a time we touched hands and heart, and still your voice abides within us. Still your tender glance remains a joy to us. For you are a part of us forever. Something of you has become a deathless song upon our lips. And so beyond the ache that tells us how much we miss you, a deeper thought compels. We were together. We hold you still in our minds and give thanks for life and love, the happiness that was, the memories that do not fade. They are a gift that cannot be lost. You continue to bless our days and years, and we will always give thanks to you. Me'ayin yavo ezri, Esoinai, El hecharim, me'ayin yavo ezri, me'im Adonai, Osei, Shemayim v'aretz, ezri, me'im Adonai, Osei, Shemayim v'aretz. I lift my eyes up to the mountains, and what is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, the maker of heaven and earth. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember her. In the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we remember her. In the opening of buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember her. In the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember her. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember her. So long as she lives, we too shall live, for she's now a part of us as we remember her. Those that have a copy of it or maybe have committed it to memory, let's read together the words of the 23rd Psalm. Adonai Ro'i. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So those of us who stand in the valley of the shadow of death and have walked that path for these past months, we come here to this place to remember her. In a moment to dedicate the marker, but now to dedicate memories, and to dedicate our lives to living in her memory. I want to invite anyone who has anything to share, a story or a memory, you're welcome to do it from where you are or to come forward if you'd like. And I'll just ask you to speak up a little bit so that those that are watching online can hear you as well. Anybody want to share anything?
I guess I didn't think of what I was going to say, but I was saying to Denise as we were walking down here that it's just not real still. And my mother isn't in my life. And like I said to her, every time I drove in my car, I always spoke to her on the phone. And now when I get in my car, it's probably better for the safety of everyone else around me, but yeah, I put on music really loud. But she's with me, and I speak to her a lot. And I know she's with us. She was just too important in our lives not to be there. And the things that come up again, you know, she was funny, and we laugh at a lot of things that she would have said or would have done. We laugh, and she would have liked to hear, and she wouldn't, or that she would have liked to hear, that she would have liked to hear. And I'm just so proud of my dad. I'm just so proud of him because he lost the love of his life. And he's just so strong and gung-ho about living his life. As she said to him, I want you to live your life. And he's doing that, and we're really proud of him. And it's so blessed to have him every single day in ours. Do you want to say something, Dad?
What we engraved on the stone says that That's all we need to say. Thank you, brother.
Do you want to say something? I don't live in this country anymore. I don't live in this country anymore. And I couldn't make the funeral because it just didn't work out that way. My grandmother was my biggest cheerleader in life. And if I was here, I feel blessed to be here with my grandfather, with my family. But if I was here, I would come often. But I'm just happy I can be here today because it's hard being far away, you know, and it's surreal for me now because I wasn't here during that time, but I'm very happy to be here to support my family, to say what I need to say to my grandmother.
I know a lot of people say this, and I don't know if it's just like maybe wishful thinking or whatnot, but from the day of her funeral, however many months ago, before we even got to the cemetery, I saw monarch butterflies everywhere. They followed me down the street, and on the day of her funeral here, there was a monarch butterfly here, and almost everywhere I go, and more importantly on like the important days, all of a sudden I will see a monarch butterfly somewhere, whether it's in a painting. I was in Mexico on my birthday and there was a giant monarch butterfly right above the restaurant I was walking into. So whether like they show up in all these different places and on special days, and maybe it's wishful thinking, but I like to think that she's with me in those moments. And for me, I've got a butterfly now, and it's how I choose to feel her with me, and how it's just, I love to see them now, so to share.
I think that the support that Carol, Johnny, grandchildren, especially Carol's dad, who we get to see a lot every time we're in synagogue, sad times, but the support that you have from your family and the love that you give for your wife is remarkable. We can share in your grief, and your wife was an amazing lady, elegant, beautiful, wise. And I know, especially Rael, because I grew up with my son so much, and how much he always talked about Lillian, how special she was to him. And I see that within all your grandchildren and your children, and how you are so blessed during this very, very difficult time. And I pray to God that you continue to be blessed, and that you will never, ever forget grandmother.
Thank you. Thank you, Howard. Thank you.
So Jacob set up a pillar on Rachel's grave. And so we who are still in mourning come here to express our undying attachment to Lillian, returning to this place to dedicate this memorial. We remember the moments shared, the times of celebration and the times of difficulty. We remember now the times of warmth and closeness, the times of love and companionship. We pray that we will continue to treasure all that was good in Lillian's life, and that we will retain that good as part of the very fabric of our lives. As we dedicate this memorial, may we recognize that it is but a symbol of our enduring affection for her. Help us, O God, to do her honor by our actions and our aspirations. May her memory lead us to lives of which she would be proud. Amen. So the stone reads, Ita liba bat Hanoch Shana died on the 5th of Tammuz, 5,782. Lillian Brookstone, September 15, 1935 to July 3rd, 2022. Devoted wife, mom, gran, and bubby, forever in our hearts, your love, wisdom, strength, and humor live on in all of us.
Amen.
Beautiful. So there's two prayers that we say at this time. One I'm going to chant, it's called El Malei Rachamim. It's a prayer for Lillian's soul, that it might be comforted Tachat Kanfei Shechina, under the wings of God's presence. And then we'll recite Kaddish. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromi, Amitzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfecha Shechina, Im Kiroshim Utechodrihim, Kizochar Rakia Masirihim, Et Nishmat Italiba Bat Hanoch Leshena, Shechalal Olama, Began Eden, Tehei Menuchata, Baal Harachamim, Yastirecha, Beseta Kanafav Olamim, Vayitzvur, Bitzvur Chachayim et Nishmata, Adonai hu nachalata, V'tanuach, B'shalom, Al Mishkavah, V'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Lillian, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting love. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And we say together,
Amen.
the Kaddish prayer is on the back of your handle. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yomad yivrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayachon v'yomechon u'payeh l'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'bizman karim v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudesha b'rechu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiron me'oma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom v'romav, huya asei shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. Amen. Osei shalom v'romav, Uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, ve'imeru. Amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru. Amen. May her memory always be for a blessing.
Amen.
Friends, as is our minhag, our custom and tradition, it is to place a stone, as you see already here, every time we come to visit the grave, to build up a monument, just like Jacob built up for Rachel, to show that she's remembered and not forgotten. I tell this story all the time, and if you've heard it before, I apologize, but when I was a rabbi in Los Angeles, the cemeteries were much more manicured than this. And if you didn't bring a stone or get one at the gate when you came in, you didn't have one. I wouldn't find one. And I was doing an unveiling about 20 years or so ago now. And though the family forgot to bring stones, and as I was explaining to this, they did bring a 4 or 5-year-old granddaughter with them, who a few minutes later returned with her hands filled with pebbles that she'd collected from all the other graves. So should you come and find that your stones are not here, they're on somebody else's bubby's grave. You're welcome to stay as long as you would like. The gate is open. And to return any time you would like. May her memory always be for a blessing. Thank you. To those watching online, this concludes the street.